What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the fourth episode of the Different Faces podcast. My name is Brian Young. I'm here today with my first favorite European person of all time, Jule. How are you doing today?
Good.
Good.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm awesome. So do you have any social media you'd like to plug for the people?
Do I have to tell that? No, I don't know.
You don't have to say anything.
I want to, but I don't know my name.
I'm assuming it's Jule dot something and then a number. That's my guess. I don't even think I'm following you on Instagram, but
No, I think it's different. I think it's Jules in Trumpland.
Jules in Trumpland.
Yes.
What? Where does that come from?
Well, because I never had Instagram, and everyone told me to make an Instagram account while I'm in the US so people can follow up with my life and everything.
Right.
And I didn't know how to name it. So yeah, it's Jules, then this weird, I don't know how to describe it. It's that.
Underscore?
Yeah.
Jules underscore in underscore Trumpland.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. Wow, that's hurtful. That's hurtful. Calling America Trumpland.
Yeah, no, it's not. People have been asking me if I'm racist or anything because of that, and I was like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. Like, no,
yeah, I don't think that would be a racist thing.
No, people thought that I'm a Trump supporter because of that.
Oh,
but I'm more making fun of Trumpland.
I see. Okay, yeah, I mean,
I don't know if people get that. I feel like nobody gets that.
I didn't get that, but see, now that I see it, I get it because you're like, if you didn't know, Jule is not from the United States. She's from a different planet entirely. She's from a different world.
Yeah, I feel like I am, definitely.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into our first topic from Jared Steck, and that's Donut. Oh, I'm fucking up already. His Snapchat, you can find him at donut_cop. That's DONUT_KOP. And his question is, what lifestyle changes did you make after coming to America?
Basically, for those who don't know, I'm an au pair, which is like a cultural exchange program. So I'm basically like a nanny. I should be, but I don't. I should be working with kids, take care of them, and live with the family I'm working for, and study a little bit, and I don't know, get to know like the American lifestyle, and live here for a year, and then go back to Germany. That's the plan. My life is kind of different because I don't have kids. I mean, my kid is 14. I don't know how much like information I can give because I don't want to get into like the privacy of my family.
Right.
But I have a 14-year-old kid, and he doesn't need me to take care of him. I'm just their driver, and I prepare food, and that's basically it. So I have a lot of free time, more than I expected. And I mean, I study a little bit. I go to college, and I have class, and I have to study for that class. And I should be studying right now, but I'm here doing a podcast.
Whoa, delinquent.
I know.
But it's cool, because she's providing good entertainment and content for us. So we're all good.
I hope so.
So how different would you say living here is versus living in Germany?
Well, I mean, in Germany we have like a lot of American culture. It's not like coming into like a completely different world. If I would go to, I don't know, like India or something, I think it would be a bigger change. But I'm used to like most of that stuff. I think the biggest difference is like the size, because Germany is so small. Germany is like so tiny in comparison to the US. It's even smaller than Texas. So if you want to like go into your car and drive for like 8 hours in Germany, you can cross at least one border and you're in a different country. And over here it's different. And when I was back in Germany, I never used to travel that much. I mean, there are a million places that I could have been traveled to, but I didn't, because for me as a European person, it was always too far away. But since I'm here, that changed, because over here people are like, oh, let's go to LA for a weekend trip, which is like a 6-hour drive, and it's normal, and people do that. And in Europe, people would look at me like I'm crazy. I don't do like a spontaneously weekend trip with a 6-hour drive. That's weird.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I mean, we're in California, and you could be driving for 6, 8, 10 hours and still be in the state.
Yeah.
You know, so you could go from Northern California to LA, and that's a whole day trip, and you're still in this same place with relatively similar culture. So, yeah, it's different. I couldn't imagine, like, oh, I'm driving for a few hours, and oh, I'm in a different country.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, the place where I live in western part of Germany, and I it takes me like 2 hours to get to Netherlands. I would be in France for like 4 hours, I would say, depending on where I start. But yeah. So everything is so small in Europe and everything is so big in America.
I guess the only comparison would be like here, like if you live up north and you drove over to Canada. But I think there's probably a pretty stringent like border patrol.
Yeah.
To go to Canada and go to Mexico, I know. Is it the same in Europe or like
No,
you can just freely go into other
yeah,
countries?
you don't even notice when you cross the border.
Really?
You just drive and then it's like, oh wait, we're in a different country right now. So nobody cares. I think you can still see it at some places that we used to have like border patrol or whatever, but we don't have that. So it's really, I think you need a visa to go to Canada, right? Someone told me you need a visa for that. In Europe, you can go wherever you want. Nobody cares. You don't need anything.
And I'm assuming in Europe it's not total chaos when you have people crossing the border, right? It's totally fine.
Yeah.
Wow, that's shocking. Because here, people tell you, oh, you get people coming from different countries are going to fuck shit up. That's apparently not the case.
It works. It
I'm
works
shocked.
pretty good.
I'm shocked.
Everyone's happy. Not everyone, but most people.
There's a ton of security here. I mean, sheesh. You got to have your passport. You got to have everything. You got to make sure who you are, who you say you are, and it's bad. But this international conversation brings me to the Olympics. Jule, you don't give a shit about the Olympics, do you?
No, I'm not the sports person.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, I really like basketball, and that's the only Olympic sport I'll watch. I really don't care about, like, whatever other curling or whatever. Also, it's like the Winter Olympics, and I'm black, and black people don't do the cold. If people don't, black people hate the cold.
Okay.
You ever seen a black person, like in California, you'll see people, like, walk around when it's cold with, like, shorts and, like, a hoodie. Like, I can't do that, man. It's fucking freezing. It's, like, 60 degrees out here. I'm not wearing fucking basketball shorts. That's wild, man. I mean, it doesn't get as cold here as in, like, other states. I'm still wearing, like, 2 pairs of socks and, like, thermals. So, yeah, I don't do cold. Fuck the cold. But that brings me to, like, is it bad not to care about the Olympics? Like, is it bad not to care if your country wins at whatever sport or event?
I don't think so. I think, like, I mean, we, like, in Germany, we only have soccer. I feel like the only thing we have is soccer. And everyone goes crazy about, like, the World Championship of soccer. And even if you don't care about sports, you watch that because that's what everybody does, that people go crazy. But it's still, like, there's a lot of conversation going on about it because people don't like if we put, like, our flags everywhere. I mean, like, Germany has a past and it's always a little bit, So, I don't know. If you're not into it, why would you have to watch that just because a lot of people do that? That's kind of stupid. Not everyone is, like, into Olympics or...
I mean, I guess it's the idea of, like, supporting your country and showing pride for where you're from. But, I mean, I've kind of been thinking about it, and I feel like a lot of nationalism in general is... I'm not a very nationalistic person. Like, I like living here, but I kind of feel like most people like living where they are because it's the most convenient place for them to live. Like, I like living in the United States because it's a prosperous country where everybody speaks English, right? So it's, like, easy for me to live here and fit into the culture because I've grown up here and I know it. Yeah. But if that drastically changed one day, like if I woke up and everybody spoke Chinese, not that there's anything wrong with Chinese. I mean, I like Chinese people, Chinese food. I mean, but if that happened, right, I'd be like, I don't want to live here. I mean, I can't talk to anybody, right? So I go to a different country, go to Canada or England or wherever. So I feel like the whole nationalism, we're supporting our country, is kind of a false thing. You know what I mean?
It's weird. I feel like we're living in a 21st century and we have, like, all the technology and, like, all the borders are not that real anymore because you can connect with people from all over the world and you get to know. I mean, like, what I'm doing, like the cultural exchange thing, I talk to people from all over the world and it's so amazing and we are still, like, the same in so many different kind of ways. So for me it's always weird when people are all about, like, their nationality and they're like, oh, America's so great, that's, like, the only place I want to live in. That's stupid because, I mean, the world is our world and we should, I don't know, that sounds cheesy, but I feel that's weird if somebody does that because the world we're living in is is so advanced in technology and everything, so you can talk to people from all over the world, and it's not like there's just one place that's the right place to live in. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think that a lot of times people have this idea that, oh, well, where I live is the best place in the world, and that's so not true.
That's stupid.
You don't know. Like if you haven't been to a different country, then you can't say for certainty that where you're living is the absolute best place.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there might be some extreme examples. Like I don't think anybody would want to live in North Korea, right? Like I think that that's probably not an experience that you need to have to say, oh, well, living in North Korea probably sucks. But I think that for the most part, I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't like Canada or Britain or Germany or France. Like, I don't know. I've never been, so I can't say that I wouldn't enjoy those places. And I think a lot of times when it comes to things like the Olympics and talking about my country versus your country, we tend to look at our own place with rose-colored glasses. I mean, there's a lot of issues in the United States. And I think that if you live here, just on any random day of the week, you could probably speak to like a million of those issues and talk about, oh yeah, well, our prison systems suck. Well, our drugs problems suck. Well, our voting problems suck. Well, our race problems suck. Well, our financial inequality problems suck. Well, our gender problems suck, you know? So, I mean, there's definitely issues.
Yeah.
And it's kind of ignorant to say, well, I live here and it's the best when that's not necessarily the case.
I think, like, all this competition thing it can be kind of fun, at least if it's still, like, in the sports thing. If it's only about the sports, yeah, you like to tease, like, the different country and be like, oh, my team is better than yours. That's okay, but as soon as it goes over to, like, the real world, and this is how war starts, because people think my country is better than yours, and I want to have, like, I don't know, your territory or some shit like that, so... Oh, am I allowed to swear in that?
You say whatever the hell you want.
Okay. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it's weird.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, like I said, I think nationalism is... It's something that, you know, you can't say... I mean, I'm not saying that you should go out and be like, oh, I hate my country. I mean, I think that there's always pride in where you're from and, you know, even city pride or street pride. Like, oh, I'm from Elm Street or wherever. You know, there's a certain connection to home. But at the same time, I mean, I think that recognizing that you're not the only place on the planet, and again, being objective, there might be other places that you like just as much, and that other people like where they live for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have a million great things to say about their own place, so, you know, you can't discount that just because you're from some other place.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to bring up a topic that you seem pretty excited about. Black Mirror.
Yes.
Give me your take on that show.
Oh, I love it. It's so amazing. It's like, okay, can I say why I like that show so much?
Sure, but before we do that, explain what it is for people who don't know.
Okay, basically it's like a science fiction show about, I don't know how you say it in English, but it's like about the future with all the new technology and everything. And
pretty good, yeah.
There is a word for that. Is it the opposite of utopia? Dystopia. Dystopia.
Yeah.
Isn't it dystopia?
Yeah, dystopian future.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's cool because it's basically like every episode is like a short movie, I would say.
Yeah.
With its own story, and it's amazing. You should watch it, people.
So you like it because it's like looking into the future, like a bad future. It's cool.
I like it because I feel like living here in Silicon Valley makes everything so real. Like, for example, I don't want to spoil. I don't know.
Spoilers? Yeah, spoilers.
I don't want to spoilers. Do you say it like that?
Do you? No, you probably say like, I don't want to give spoilers for a certain episode.
Okay,
yeah.
I don't want to give spoilers, but like this one episode has like a pizza delivery robot in it, and I was watching that one day, and a day after I met this guy who works for a company who builds those robots, like the exact same thing, basically, just a little bit smaller, to use it on campus in Berkeley, and I think they're expanding to Stanford, to deliver pizza with a tiny robot that is driving around. And that's so crazy because it's so real. It's here.
It's here.
Like, the future is here. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm coming from Germany. We don't have that much, or at least you don't see it that much. But over here, everything is so real. You have the self-driving cars. You have like all the high-tech stuff over here, the tech companies.
Did you see the episode with... Okay, so there's two I want to ask about. So did you see the episode with the robot dogs? Where the lady goes in, or the lady and her friends, they like go and they break into some place, like steal something, and then the dogs come out and like shoot something at her.
Oh, yeah, I remember, yeah.
So those dogs exist.
Right,
Yeah,
what?
yeah,
No.
Boston Dynamics. So they're making like these robot AI dogs. And what they're made for is they're supposed to like carry military gear or like other heavy stuff that, obviously people can't carry through like rough terrain. But yeah, so those exist. I mean, they don't shoot stuff
that's
yet.
Creepy.
But yeah, I mean, you can have just a little thing just running around like, I don't know, my friend is asking for his backpack back. So you attach the backpack and just send him away. Or like, I don't know, let's say that you're hiking somewhere, right? And you fall and there's like a really treacherous area and you can't send people down there because then they're going to get hurt. So you send this little dog down there and he, gives them supplies or helps move rubble or whatever. So yeah, they have that. That exists.
Oh my god, that's creepy. I mean, it does make sense because I'm always wondering where the people get like their inspiration from when they do like shows like that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff is totally real.
Oh my god, okay, that's weird.
So there's that. And then there's also, did you see the episode where some guy, like, it's like the world where people can play back their memories?
Yeah.
So I think I might have been talking about this on the last podcast, but Google has these things called like Google contact lenses where you put contact lenses in and you can like record people and like things.
Yeah, that's scary. I mean, that's what I mean. Everything is so real, especially like in this area because we have Google right next to us.
Yeah.
But I feel like it can be a good thing, like those robots, if they can help you where people can't get to places or anything like that. It can be a good thing. But I feel like everyone kind of thinks of robots taking over the world and destroying humanity. I don't know. I'm kind of scared. It's a good thing, but I'm still kind of scared somehow.
Yeah, I think that's kind of just, there's a fear of robots taking over and robots having all this power and all this information where we kind of become obsolete.
Yeah.
That's where I kind of want to go with AI. Like, people are afraid that, on the day, because it's going to happen where, the singularity, I mean, this is assuming we don't kill ourselves first, but the singularity is the concept that, like, there's going to be a time when we create an AI that is able to improve upon itself, like, repetitively. So it's just going to get smarter and smarter and smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
And essentially, it's going to reach the point of, like, God status. It's going to be so smart that, we're not even going to be able to comprehend how smart it is. Like, it's kind of like how smart, or, okay, if you took, like, a human and an ant, right? How smart does an ant know that a human is? How smart, like, how much can an ant comprehend about human intelligence? So the fear is like, okay, well, if an AI is that smart, what's it going to want? And how's it going to feel about humanity?
But that's interesting because I feel like people always want to have like control over things. And it doesn't even have to be like a bad thing if we have something like that can, I don't know, it doesn't have to be like they will take over the world and it's gonna be, everything will fall apart and people are not worth anything anymore because people just always want to have like control over things. But what if it's good if we lose some of that control and we're not forced to make decisions anymore? And maybe it's not even a bad thing, but we don't realize that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's possible. Like, I think that it's like, I think that to assume that just because we have something new and powerful, like, I think it's kind of not responsible to assume that it's always going to be bad.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you do have an AI that's that smart, for all we know, it could want to help us. It may want to, for all we know, its desire maybe to help humanity evolve. Whoa, why is my phone going off? I have no idea. I'm going to turn that off. Turn the sound down. I'm being unprofessional, fucking up. But I was going to say that, like, I think that there's definitely the possibility for the AI to, like, be a force for good.
Yeah.
And help us through whatever problems we may have. I mean, then again, it's also the theory of, like, okay, well, if you woke up in a field of cows and the cows told you to, like, grow grass for them. Would you do it?
That's kind of weird.
I mean, but
imagine.
Yeah, it's weird. But I'm saying, like, I guess the point is, like, you probably wouldn't, because you'd be like, your cows. I don't have to be here. Like, I'm so much. I see myself as above a cow, so I'm not just gonna sit here and like dedicate my whole life to growing grass for cows.
Yeah, but that's what you were thinking. But
that's what you would think.
There are people who, not especially with cows, but I mean, people are so easy to influence, and you can get people doing stuff
that's like way below there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. That's definitely true too. I mean, that could be the case for AI. I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. We don't know. I mean, maybe it's so smart that it has some other desire that we can't even comprehend. You know? Like, I kind of go back to the ant-human example. Like, an ant doesn't understand why a human would want to build a city.
Yeah.
Right? An ant doesn't understand why a human would want to build computers or play a sport. But we do, because we're smart enough to understand those things. So, if you had an AI, is it possible that, like, it has desires and wants that we just wouldn't get?
That's true. Yeah, I heard about that. I think Elon Musk said that it could be that we're living in a simulation or something like that.
Yeah, that's a possibility. That would freak me out.
I don't know. I feel like it's fucking up your head so much if you think about that too much, because I don't know. Most people want to have like a reason to live and are looking for a reason and want to understand everything and why we're here and why we have to do what we're doing. But I feel like sometimes you shouldn't be questioning it too much.
Because you might find an answer that you don't like.
Yeah.
That's possible. I mean, so this is like, how would you feel though? If there was absolute proof that we were living in a simulation, how would you feel about that?
I mean, it wouldn't change that I'm here, and it wouldn't change that I'm doing what I'm doing. It's more about what you want, and if you want to have a normal life, I don't need a reason to live. I'm just living. I'm here, and I can only kill myself, or I can live and I can make the most out of my life. So I'm not one of those people who needs a reason, but there are some people that feel like they definitely need a reason, and if they would know or figure out that they're in a simulation, they would either kill themselves, if that's even possible in a simulation. I don't know.
I mean, does a sim die?
That's a good question. Maybe I don't know. That's why people have so many different things like religions and stuff, and believe that they're gonna get rebirth, and stuff like that. So
we all want to figure out the secrets of the universe, and we all want to feel like we're worth something. I mean, sometimes some people don't. Some people are like, you know what, I'm here, like you were saying, like I'm here and it doesn't really matter.
Care.
I mean, we talked about this before, but doing it for the podcast because we need content. But I mean, sometimes, people feel like it doesn't really matter, whether I'm supposed to mean something or whether I'm here off of the whim of some smarter being or group.
Yeah.
I'm still me. It doesn't change what I had for breakfast last week. It doesn't change the fact that I'm going to go home and shit or pee or whatever. Doesn't change the fact that, hey, there's that cute girl on the street. Damn, she fine, It's all the same.
Yeah.
So if we were living in a simulation, though, would there be a God then? Like, okay, so if I load up my Sims game, right, and I build a family named the Schmucks or whatever, like, am I their God?
I mean, they still do what they do, and if you don't control them, they still gonna, I don't know, pee themselves so they don't explode and, I don't know, eat some trash and mess up the whole house. So they still have, like, their own life, and as long as they don't know that you exist and you're controlling things, they just doing what they're doing. Yeah.
Do you think people would be freaked out, though? Do you think society would, like, break down if people knew that?
I think so, yeah.
So if you were, like, part of a government agency and you had to vote, you would say no. Don't tell people that you're living in a simulation.
Yeah, I think I would say no, because it wouldn't change the fact that you have to live and that you have to, like, maintain a lifestyle and try to keep, like, society going.
Yeah.
But there are always people who, I mean, it's like I don't know, having, like, different types of economy, that you have, like, capitalism or communism, and, like, communism could be a nice idea if it would work and if everyone would, like, do their shit, but people are not like that. There are always, like, some people who feel like they are different and they don't want to do that, and so I feel if you would tell anybody, because you would need a plan. If you want to tell society that everyone is living in a huge simulation, you need a plan. You can't just give that information and be like, now deal with it.
Right. So people would freak out and be like, what the fuck?
Exactly. So you would have to be like, okay, this is how it is, but we still have to go on with what we did before, or we have to change something according to what we know. I don't know. But there are always people who would be like, no, I don't want to live in that simulation. I want to, I don't know, kill like the person who's doing that. Or
because why does it matter?
Yeah.
If you live in a simulation, you go and kill someone, you'd be like, well, they're just a computer program.
Yeah.
You turn off your computer every day.
It's,
it
would be too fucked up.
Stuff it'd get crazy. I feel like at a certain point, we would be able to accept it. Like, I feel like there'd be a period of chaos and confusion and people being sad because they know that they're not. Well, okay. I guess that question's like, are you real? Are you fake? I mean, I think that if we were living in a simulation, which is possible, and it would be real to each other, and so our own reality should be what matters. But yeah, I think that people would freak out. But I do think that at a certain point, we'd probably pull it together and be like, fine with that fact. Like, I feel like at a certain point, we would accept that and move on. But I don't know if the damage from knowing that would be too bad.
I feel like not everyone would accept that.
Like, you think that there are people who, like, their whole lives, you just couldn't live with it?
Yeah.
That's possible, yeah. I can see that. I definitely think that, again, especially if you're looking for, or if you're a person who feels like they need, like, some kind of higher meaning, and you find out that you're just, like, a computer program. I mean, like, the knowledge that, oh, somebody could turn this off at any moment. Or the knowledge that, like, oh, well, what if I'm just, like, made by some dude sitting in his basement who just has, like, a really high-tech computer? I think that would bug people,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, again, going back to The Sims, because we love The Sims. Support the podcast. Give us money. But, yeah, I mean, it's like, little kids start Sims games for whatever the fucking reason they want,
Yeah.
They just do it just because, there's no rhyme or reason. They just want to have fun. And this could just be that.
I don't want to know how many families I fucked up in Sims because I didn't care about them anymore.
Yeah, exactly. You just leave them and it's like, oh, well, they're just there. And you don't really care. They're computer programs, right? There's a million of them.
Yeah.
Or billions or however many, so it doesn't really matter. But it'd be freaky.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be kind of cool with it, though.
Yeah, me too. I think I would accept that and be like, okay.
Yeah,
let's go for it.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, I could be a simulation or living under some magical dude with a wand who's like, oh, let there be light. Earth in 7 days. Fucking Jesus. And splitting the sea. Do you think religion would, like, break down? How do you think they would take it? Like, if you're a pastor that's been preaching to people about God, do you think that they would, like, freak out about that?
Probably, yeah. I think so. I mean, like, religion in general is such a sensitive topic because, I mean, everyone who is religious thinks that their religion is the real thing and the only thing that's real and exists
is them.
So, and that's kind of how it is because everyone has like their own reality and what they believe. Mm-hmm. And there are people who believe we're living in a simulation. There are people who believe that God created the world and you have like a purpose and you have to spread the word of God or whatever. So I don't know, if you tell like all those different people with their different versions of their life that there's only one version that's real and that's like the real.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, they would freak out because it's like if you really believe in something and you build your whole life on the thought that there's a God and you're gonna go into like heaven or hell, it can be healthy to figure out that all your life has been a lie, and now you have to completely, I don't know, start over. Mm-hmm. Not with your life, but like with what you thought would be reality.
Right.
So
what about this? Okay, so we would freak out. So we both agree that people would probably freak out if they knew they were living in a simulation. But what about, let's say that there was a company in like 10, 15 years that came out with like a VR system, like a game, where you could put on a headset and everything is super real. Like you could legit live a second life in VR. Would that be much different? If you could live this, but you knew it was virtual reality going in.
I think it depends on the people because there are people who get really affected by those things and who are, I don't want to say weak, but who are more into that and they need some kind of escape from their life, I guess probably those people who are not living like the best life over here, and they would probably be really into that and start their new life in that virtual reality and forget about what's real and what's not real, because like the borders are so like not there anymore. So I don't know, I feel like stuff like that is coming. I mean, we already have like virtual reality, and it is
close.
It is kind of real. I mean, I tried that and it was crazy how real it felt while you're in there and you're doing this. And
this is the beginning of it too. This is like the onset. I mean, so there's a lot of room to get better with it.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you could, would you go into like VR that is like essentially like this? Would you do it?
I don't think so, because I don't see the point in it. Because I mean,
not even if you get like superpowers or whatever.
I would probably try it because I want to try everything. So I would be like, okay, let's go for it. But it's kind of like drugs, I guess, because if you try it and you like it, you want to stick to it, and you can't really stop. And it's so hard to figure out if it's worth the try or not. I guess. I don't know.
That's fair. I mean, I think I'd be super into it because, like, I want to go into a VR world and I'm like 6'5", and, like super buff. Like,
yeah, but what if you really like it and then you don't like the reality anymore?
Well, okay, then yeah, you do bring up a good point. Okay, that's fair, because it's like, especially if your life is so amazing in there, that's like, why would I want to go back?
Exactly, and then you're stuck in your simulation.
And then my real body's just like deteriorating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, it'd be bad, because it's like, at the end of the day, it's not reality.
Exactly.
You just be in there, probably paying money. But yeah, just like, it's like if people could choose to live like when you're in a dream, right? Like that feels super real, right? If people could choose to like do that at will and like live in their dreams for like prolonged periods of time, would they do it? Maybe. I mean, some people might just like choose to stay there forever or however long they can because it's different. Your real life may suck. You may, I don't know, be in a bad relationship or have a ton of debt or like be in a dead end job or whatever, and that might just be better for them.
It's true.
But at the same time, it's like if that's what makes people happy, should you just let them do it because that may be their escape from their crappy reality.
That's true, but if they have to pay for it and then they're gonna be stuck there, and at one point they can't afford to do that anymore and they have to face their reality again.
Well, then they're fucked.
See, that's the problem. So it's always,
So you mentioned drugs earlier, and this is just like a pivot point, but I was thinking about this. Should drugs be legal? Like, should all drugs be legal? You for or against?
I don't think so, because, I mean, if you really want to use drugs, you can get drugs, even if they're illegal. But it would be easier if they would be legal. And a lot of people are just, they don't think about it, or like even young people, like children or young teenagers, whatever, they just want to try stuff. And if we would make it even easier for them to get that, and we would even delete that boundary that we can say that's illegal and it's against the law and you can get in trouble if you do that, it would make it way easier, and I guess a lot of even young people, or especially young people, would try it.
So, like, I am so for legalizing drugs. But,
really?
like,
why?
Okay, so I think that, like, not in the sense that where you should just, like, encourage people to do drugs wherever, but I feel like, I mean, obviously, you have to be 21 or 18 or whatever, but I feel like criminalizing people for drugs is kind of bad, at least in the United States. I know that we have, like, 25% of the world's prisoners or some astronomical number, and a lot of those people are in jail for, like, non-violent drug crimes. So, like, I just don't feel like someone who's, like, smoking weed in their basement or is doing coke or crack should be in prison. Like, I feel like if you're gonna come down on it with, like, okay, well, if you do it, then you're gonna have to go to, like, rehab or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, something like that.
Exactly. We should not, like, criminalize them.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, like decriminalize. Maybe not like legal, but like decriminalize.
Yeah, we should find another way to help those people and not just put them behind bars and be like, okay, you did something bad, now you have to deal with that, and we don't help them.
Yeah.
That's not what I would say. I would definitely say we should try to figure something out to like get them back to society and help them to like overcome their drug addiction, or if they into that, I don't know, you have to approach that differently, I feel like.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, so I was looking it up, and there's these things called mandatory minimum sentences, which for people that don't know, if you have like a certain amount of drugs, it doesn't matter the context or whatever, like if you have it, you are automatically sentenced to at least this amount of time in prison. And I believe for like crack, it's either 5 grams or 50 grams for 5 years mandatory. So if you have a problem with crack for whatever reason, and a police officer finds 5 or 50, I think it's 5 grams of crack on you, that's 5 years of your life that you're going to do in prison as a felon. And after prison, you know, you have to deal with fines, you have to deal with, you can't get a job, you have to deal with, you can't get housing, you can't vote. I mean, there's a lot of things that, like, fuck up your life for doing drugs. And it's like, I just don't know that that's worth it, you know?
And on the other side, if you be like, you don't have any, like, rules, or you wouldn't be, like, putting someone in prison for doing that, then people would just do it. And because if you tell them it's not good, you're not going to help anybody if you sell cocaine or anything like that. People would not be overthinking that and would be like, okay, it's not a good thing to do, so I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you definitely run into the issue where it's like, if it's not illegal, then it's like, well, why wouldn't I do it? You know? Like, the reason, I mean, I personally haven't tried coke just because I don't want to do coke, but I'm sure that there's a lot of people who was like, well, if it was legal, I'd probably do it. On one hand, I kind of think that people do it anyway, especially college kids. Like, college kids don't really care. College kids will just do it. Like, I'm sure that you can go to any college campus and find a ton of drugs.
Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, it is a deterrent. It does prevent people from doing drugs. And there's also the thing where it's like, you know, if you make something like crack illegal, does that make, like, okay, well, crack is legal, well, now I can go out and sell crack. And then someone else says, okay, well, crack is legal, so I can go out and sell crack. And you have 2 people who are selling crack, and then it's like, all right, well, I don't want you selling crack. Another person's like, oh, well, I don't want you selling crack. And then it becomes a thing. Are you creating conflict by making drugs legal? You know, between different sellers. I mean, I guess the only way to take that out would be like with weed. You know, you have like official like dispensaries to where like it's better. It might be cheaper and easier to get it from a dispensary than a local dude on the street. And a local dude on the street isn't going to go shoot up the dispensary. You know.
No, but I guess that still creates problems because then they're trying to figure out ways to make their weed cheaper by offering even worse quality or something like that. And in the end, it doesn't help at all. But it's like, I feel like it's already so hard because we have like alcohol, which is also a drug and it's legal. So that's kind of normal. You can get, I mean, like the laws are different in Germany. You can get alcohol when you're 16. And we still have a society. It's not that everyone is drunk all the time. But I don't know if it would be the same if you have like all drugs legal.
I don't know. I mean, and like at the same time, like America, I think the biggest killer of Americans, I want to say, is heart disease. And we're like super for like going out and eating 5 Big Macs a day.
Yeah.
I mean, we're the second most obese country in the world. I mean, cigarettes are pretty popular. I mean, not as popular as they used to be, but it's really bad for you too.
Yeah.
And we don't really talk about, okay, well, if we're going to outlaw these certain things for people's health, then why is it that our whole culture is built around these other things that are just as bad, if not worse for you? Like, someone doing shrooms a couple times in their life is probably not as bad as someone who eats at McDonald's 3 times a week, right? But the guy who eats at McDonald's 3 times a week, that's like fine. That's like, oh, well, that's just normal behavior.
That's just what society accepts.
Right. But like you do shrooms and it's like, oh, well, that guy is terrible and he's a druggie and all this stuff, you know? And again, for me, it's just like, I just don't like ruining people's lives over recreational stuff.
I mean, you could be like whoever can decide what they want to do to their bodies, and it's everyone owns life, like what they want to do. But in the end, you rely on the society and that everyone kind of works together, because if everyone just does everything just for themselves, that's not how it works. We need each other to, I don't know, produce things and do stuff. So I don't know if it was a lot of I don't know. I fucked that
No,
up.
that's okay. You're good.
Stressed.
This is real life conversation, so you're fine.
Yeah.
You're good. No one's gonna judge you. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that I don't think that in the United States, at least, there's going to be a point where we decriminalize drugs. I mean, maybe marijuana, maybe, but people still have like a huge issue with that. I mean, it's still federally illegal, which means that in the states it's technically illegal. So I don't know if we'll ever get to that point, but I think that at the very least, if you're gonna put people in jail for doing drugs, oh, I don't know. I mean, once you're in jail, then you're kind of fucked. But at least don't take away certain privileges just because they were having fun. And also, I feel like police forces don't go to the hood looking for drugs. I know that that's like the main focus of a lot of police forces. Like, if you really care about drugs, go to college campuses, bust white kids. Like, I don't know, man. A lot of people with drugs that don't get arrested, but
Yeah.
you know, that's okay. So on a less serious topic, no, whatever. Do you want to talk more about your experience as an au pair?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay. Unless you have something else to say on drugs or robots or whatever.
No, I feel like no, it's fine.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, what should I say about being an au pair? Okay, like in general, it's basically slavery for most people.
See, this is the fourth episode where we're just taking shots at things and people.
Yeah, but that's how it is. I mean, not for me because I have a pretty good life over here and I'm super lucky, but it's basically you have someone living at your home, so you can be flexible with their working hours and you can work up to 45 hours and you get paid. I think normal pairs get around $200 a week, which sounds like it's okay, especially because we don't have any expenses like for rent or food or anything, as long as we eat like in our host family's place. But in the end, most people work their asses off. I mean, especially working with kids.
It's difficult.
It's difficult.
Kids
it's
can be
a lot
monsters.
of work, and some girls have 3 or even 4 kids that have to take care of, and that's crazy. And they work from morning till evening, and then they're off for a little bit, and then they work again. So it's really crazy. I wouldn't do it again.
Do you think that some au pairs are like, fuck being a parent after doing that?
Yes.
Really?
I heard most girls, especially with younger children, are done after this experience.
Just
They'll
no
be like,
kids.
Not no kids, but most of them are like, okay, I need a break. I definitely don't want to have kids in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, like, once you're like, I like kids. Kids are cool. But I mean, I think that once you're around them enough, you're like, all right, I'm kind of done here.
Yeah, especially if you think about, like, these parents give their young children to
Strangers.
basically also strangers who are basically kids still.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these are girls from Europe are usually around 18 or 19. So they just finished high school. They have, like, no life experience.
Yeah, they're trying to figure their own shit out.
Yeah, and they raise your children. So it's kind of, if you think about it, it's kind of fucked up. So, yeah.
But you do it and you get paid and...
I mean, yeah, no, don't get me wrong, it's still like an amazing experience, and it's like the only way for a lot of girls to get out of their country and to see like some of the world. And I mean, you can be lucky. It depends on the family you live with and you're working for.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but you did good.
I'm super lucky. I can't believe how lucky I am because
she got to come to California. So, you know.
Yeah, everyone wants to go to California, but it's more common on the East Coast.
So there's no au pairs in like Idaho?
I think not every state offer like the au pair program. Yeah, I'm not sure.
I mean, that's good because I would hate to like, oh, you're an au pair. Guess where you're going? Fucking Kansas.
Yeah.
Like Nebraska in the middle of nowhere. Like, oh, cool, I get to watch kids on the fucking farm. Some corn and nothing. Just the sky and fucking nothing.
I mean, that's kind of how it is for like some girls because most girls live in suburbs and they are sometimes without a car, so they're basically lost.
Bored.
I know, it's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah.
At that point, I think I would rather just stay home.
Yeah, some people go home for, I mean, like if you come here, like the whole the whole start is weird because you have to find a family trying to like have an interview with them over Skype, so you never met them in real life, and then you decide to leave your home country and travel across the globe to another continent and live with total strangers. So most of the times that doesn't work out.
Yeah, I mean that sounds kind of sketch.
Yeah, a little bit. And like I think around 80% of the au pairs go into rematch, so they try to find a different family. That's kind of normal already, because it's just so hard to figure out if that's a fit or not, and you just can't tell from like 1 or 2 Skype interviews.
Right, because like you're living with them, and again,
yeah,
that sounds so weird. Like
it is weird.
Skype with this person and then go to a different country and live with them. And like, I don't know about that.
The whole matching process is like kind of like matching on Tinder. You have like a dating profile just like for families and for like au pairs.
Oh, that's amazing. This whole thing is like...
It's so weird. If you think about it, it's so weird, but still a lot of people do it, and for a lot of girls it's a great experience. So
okay. Alright.
Somehow it works.
Yeah, I guess so. Alright, we're gonna wrap this up. What is that, a good 40-something minutes? So yeah, I mean, good content. How do you feel about your first podcast?
Okay, I was super stressed before that because, and I have to say that, I'm sorry if I fucked up my English. Sometimes my English is better. I don't know, I feel like today it wasn't as good as it should be.
Today was totally fine. Your English is great.
No,
I think you're fine.
I'm not happy with that, but
I don't know
I
why
hope everyone understands what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Any final words? Any final shots you want to throw at people or programs?
Thank you for letting me do that and for being in that podcast.
Okay, cool.
And yeah, I don't know.
Sounds good. I'll be back maybe next week or never. I don't know. These are sporadic. Final note, I love Rodney Magruder. He's a cool guy. You don't know who he is, but he's a cool guy. I love him. He's an awesome player. But with that, peace out, fam.
Bye.
The most awkward bye.